Were there other milestones for either of you that helped you to kind of rewrite your story and begin to see yourselves differently?
My journey of forgiveness was a huge milestone, and it wasn't just for my wife, it was also for the other person too. I originally had been through a forgiveness process prior to this happening, and it was for other things that had happened in my life, and that worked. That felt like that was good. And this one didn't seem to stick. I would do the steps and do all the exercises, and then I would be like, I don't feel any different. I was still mad, I was still angry, unforgiveness, bitterness, all of that stuff. And then I came across a resource called Forgiving and Reconciling by Everett Worthington, and it created this distinction between emotional forgiveness and decisional forgiveness. I was deciding to forgive. I was not going on the emotional journey of what was required in order to experience forgiveness at an emotional level. That was a milestone when I took time away to get out of town and really dive into those steps of emotional forgiveness. It was a whole different level of forgiveness that I didn't know I needed to dive into. It was one of the biggest milestones of the entire journey for me.
I think a few stand out for me. My fourth and final D-Day, even though that was extremely traumatic, it was a milestone because it was that day on that I knew my entire story. And we couldn't start to rebuild until we got there. And then from there, I would say being asked to speak at Hope Rising 2024. When someone on our leadership team suggested that I do that, I thought, does she see me as a survivor? Do I see myself as a survivor? Would I call myself a survivor? And so that was a big one. I made a promise to myself when I recorded that day that I was going to choose to let some things go. I kept that promise. And Jeremy, I love what you said about the different types of forgiveness. And I even remember asking my therapist, like, how do you know if you've forgiven? Literally, what does that look like? When I say let some things go, it was really acknowledge that I can't change them. I have to accept the fact that they happened and they cannot be changed. And when I find myself getting upset about them again, I go back and I remind myself that the day I recorded that was the day that I chose to let some of those things go. So I have that as like a milestone date in my mind. And then another one, and Rick, I'm really excited to tell you about this one. October 13th of 2024, I told my husband that I want to stay married to him. He waited over 4 years to hear that. I know some people keep their same wedding anniversaries, and I didn't want to do that. So we don't celebrate that particular date that we got married anymore, but we have a new date now. And I'm super excited to celebrate it.